Last Night in Soho is not one of Edgar Wright's best movies, but it is one of the best movies I've watched in 2021. Let's talk about why. Last Night in Soho is a movie about an aspiring fashion designer who is mysteriously able to enter the 60s where she encounters a dazzling wannabe singer. However, the glamour is not all it appears to be, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something much, much darker. Now, this movie did come out a while ago. It's a movie I really wanted to see, but you know, the whole COVID things make going to the cinema a bit harder. It's finally come out on VOD, so I finally got the chance to watch it. And it's a movie I've really wanted to watch for a long time because I'm a big fan of Edgar Wright. He's made some great movies down the years, from Shaun of the Dead to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, to even more recently, Baby Driver, which in my opinion is one of the best films of the last 10-15 years. So this film is following up from Baby Driver, which is a big task because, as I mentioned, I love that movie so much. I think it's one of the best films of the last 10-15 years. This film, Last Night in Soho, from the trailer looks like a completely different thing from Edgar Wright, and in some senses it is, but you gotta remember he did a lot of horror/comedy horror stuff with Shaun of the Dead and all those little trilogy of films. One of the main things I like about Edgar Wright is he's a very ambitious filmmaker. He doesn't stand still, he doesn't just do the same type of film over and over again. Last Night in Soho is an unconventional story that I think is going to be one of those movies people either love it or hate it. It does take a little moment to wrap your head around what's going on here. Is the girl in the movie schizophrenic? Is she just insane? Does she actually see visions of the past? Is she actually time traveling into the past? Is her dreams just super vivid and maybe she's just making it all up? That's the thing with this movie. It keeps you guessing all the way through. And I think it's possibly one of the best told movies of the year. It is without doubt one of the best edited movies of the year. Some sensational, just cohesion between all of the elements within the movie, from music to the choreography in it, to the lighting syncing up with the music, the cuts syncing up with the music perfectly as well. Really good use of music is a cornerstone of Edgar Wright movies. As I mentioned, Baby Driver, that was one of the main elements of it. This one also has an exceptionally good use of music, and on top of that, a phenomenal soundtrack. But one thing that is also key to Edgar Wright films is an amazing attention to detail. He recently did a video, I think with Vanity Fair, which I'll link in the description below, where he breaks down all of his movies and all the little details in them. And it's just spectacular to watch as anyone who's interested in film, to see the level of detail this guy goes into on his movies, perhaps more so than certain other filmmakers. One particular little detail I like in this one is that when the girl goes into an Irish bar, she goes downstairs in the Irish bar, the music that's playing is Rory Gallagher's Bad Penny. And if you don't know Rory Gallagher, you really should, because in my opinion, the greatest Irish musician of all time. A blues guitarist who, I believe it was Jimi Hendrix once was asked who's the best guitarist, Jimi Hendrix or Eric Clapton, and he replied, Rory Gallagher. But small little details like that add in, because you know, a lot of filmmakers would throw in like Thin Lizzy or U2 or I don't know, Westlife. This movie definitely has a different tone to all the other Edgar Wright movies, but then again, as I mentioned earlier, he doesn't really stand still. All his movies are a little bit different. Shaun of the Dead is completely different from Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim's completely different in tone to Baby Driver, and Baby Driver is completely different in tone to Last Night in Soho. But this movie's got a really cool aesthetic. Some of the visuals are pretty damn cool. Some of the effects work in it is sensational. I was just blown away by this movie overall. It's 2 hours long, and when the movie finished, I just sat there and said, wow, I love that. I watched some good movies this year. Coda is a particular highlight for me. Even stuff like Cruella was pretty good this year, especially with the use of music. But for me so far, I think Last Night in Soho is the movie I've enjoyed the most. And so now it comes down to the rating. Out of 10, what will I give Last Night in Soho? I don't think it's going to be any surprise, given all the praise I've given this movie so far. It's going to be a pretty high rating. For me, as I mentioned, one of the best movies of the year has to get a 9 out of 10. But I cannot recommend high enough checking out Last Night in Soho. I think it's a truly sensational movie. Once you wrap your head around what's going on, the storytelling is just phenomenal in this one. But this is where I throw it over to you guys, because I want to know your opinions on Last Night in Soho. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section below. But with all that being said and done, there's only one thing left to say. That's thank you so much for watching.